everybody. Welcome to the third episode of the Teenology Podcast, where teens make sense of the world that they are about to change. Like always, I'm your host, Aiden Middleton, and I'm really excited to be here with you guys, along with my dad, Four Eyes.
Four Eyes. So now we've gotten to the point of the podcast where you make fun of my disability to see properly.
Yep, and we're only in the third episode.
I know. Well, let's just
It's gonna
hope
be a long road for you.
Let's just hope you don't inherit that problem. All right, Aiden, what are we going to be talking about on this episode?
Yeah, so today we are doing the second episode of a three-part series on friendship. And today we're going to be talking about how to be a good friend.
Well, that sounds like fun. Friendship is an important part of life, but before we get to that, we're going to the fan favorite segment part of the podcast where I put on the hosting hat and I get to be educated. So guys, get ready for our Gen Z word of the episode. So Aiden, one day I heard you talking to your friends and somebody roasted you pretty bad. Like they gave you the business.
Nobody could ever roast me really bad.
Oh yeah, they can. There's plenty to roast.
Roast-proof.
There's plenty to roast. And you said, know you. So tell me a little bit. Enlighten your old Four Eyes dad what that means.
Yeah, I'll put it in perspective for you. So know you means I know you are, but what am I?
Okay, that's like Pee Wee Herman from my day.
Exactly.
If you guys ever heard of Pee Wee Herman, if you haven't heard of Pee Wee Herman, don't worry, you're not missing anything.
Yeah, you are.
But if you have, you understand the context of it.
But yeah, so know you is like something you'd say when somebody roasts you just to...
Like to get him back.
Yeah. To get out of the roast. Yeah, it's just like you're playing the Uno reverse card in real life.
Wow, I like that. Uno reverse. But I unfortunately can't do that if you call me Four Eyes. I can't say no you because you actually don't you don't have to have glasses. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our Gen Z word of the episode. Now on to today's content.
So last episode we talked about how to make friends, but what I've realized, and I know a lot of people have realized, is that sometimes you have disagreements or arguments with people, and so today we're going to be talking about how to be a good friend. So, Dad, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you're talking about like being a good friend?
Yeah, it's an important question for all of us to ask. A story I'm reminded from in Scripture is from 1 Samuel 20. Many of you guys are probably familiar with this. It's the story of David and Jonathan. David's the same guy that took down Goliath with a slingshot, and Jonathan was his best friend. Now, here's what's going on is Jonathan's dad was King Saul, and King Saul is one of the most dysfunctional people that you'll find in all of Scripture. He had all kinds of problems, all kinds of issues, and David had been anointed by the prophet Samuel to be next in line to be the king, and Jonathan was the king's son. But when Jonathan heard David speak and he saw the actions that he had done, man, it says that his heart was connected to him. Like he loved David as a brother. And so one of the things that he did, and I think one of the first things that comes to my mind, is that to be a good friend, you need to be there for people. Now, what's crazy about this is Jonathan actually had all the reasons in the world to not be a good friend to David, because normally in Israel, the son of the king was in line to become the king. So Jonathan really easily could have seen David as a threat, but instead, man, he had his back. And he had his back in a time of need when his psycho dad was trying to kill him or trying to kill David and chasing him through the wilderness and in caves and all kinds of stuff. He didn't abandon David. And so it's so important for us to be there for people, especially in times of need that they may have in their lives.
Question.
Answer.
So I know that lots of people have questions about this, and I also do too. How would I be a good friend if somebody was doing something wrong? For example, if I was at, I don't know, a gas station, 7-Eleven, and one of my friends steals a Reese's peanut butter cup, what would I do to be a good friend?
Well, first, I would like to commend your klepto friend on amazing taste in chocolate.
Reese's peanut butter cups, I will give you this, they are good, but they are definitely not the best.
Well, here's what I would do is first, I would confront my friend lovingly. Scripture says that we should speak the truth in love. So I would confront them lovingly and say, hey man, you need to put that back. You shouldn't steal. And then if they don't listen, I would then go talk to my parents when I got home at an appropriate time. Or if I'm somewhere, I could talk to a trusted teacher at school, or maybe my youth pastor or someone like that to help me navigate through the situation. And here's why. It's because sometimes being a good friend means telling the truth even if it hurts. Because in the long run, they're going to thank you when they're not in juvie next year taking their classes. And so sometimes you got to actually challenge your friends. Sometimes you got to, as Scripture would say, speak the truth in love. Proverbs tells us that iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And if you've ever heard a car crash, we know I got in an accident about a month or so ago, and man, that metal on metal is like the worst sound of all time. And so sometimes it means that when you bump heads with somebody, there might be a little bit of friction. I had a guy, here's a fun story, I had a guy that I was friends with in college, and he was a guy I'd been kind of reaching out to and praying for, and he just kept telling me, hey, I'll come to your campus meeting. I'll come to your campus ministry meeting. He never did. Now, mind you, I'd had several years of relationship built with this guy, right? But I just said, you know what? I'm done with him telling me he's going to come and then not come. And so one day I saw him on campus. And I said, you know what? You're not a man of your word. He said, what? I said, yeah, every week you tell me you're going to come and you never show up and you never show up. And so he got so mad at me, he went back to his room that he was staying with and got so mad and called me all kind of names, and out of spite came that night to our college ministry meeting. And you know what he did? He gave his life to Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? But what was really cool about that is that sometimes it means that you speak the truth in love to people. Now, you got to have relationship to be able to do that. You can't just go up to random people and start yelling at them, or you shouldn't yell at anybody. But speaking truth to them, you got to have some context for it.
All right, I got another question.
Okay.
So what do I do if someone is going through a hard time or gets something that I wanted?
Okay. Yeah. If someone's going through a hard time, maybe their parents have gotten divorced, maybe something happened at school, or there's some dysfunction in a relationship. Maybe if you're a girl, a good friend of yours got a boyfriend and you didn't. Well, here's what the Apostle Paul tells us to do. In Romans 12, verse 15, Paul says, rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. What it means is that other people's victories should be our victories, and other people's defeats should be our defeats. And so bottom line, man, just be there, like be in their lives.
So what do I do if someone that you think is your friend is not returning your texts?
Yeah, this is a great example, is that sometimes people will do things for someone else. They kind of expect a response, right? And so what happens is in life, the gap between expectation and reality is really where we get frustrated. But a good friend always gives the benefit of the doubt. So if someone hasn't called or texted in a while or FaceTimed or whatever, then give those people the benefit of the doubt. Some people have good days, some people have bad days. As hard as it can be, you can't assume the worst. They might be having a bad day. And in fact, if somebody is having a bad day, they're probably the most in need of real encouragement in their lives. And so a good friend doesn't just assume the worst, and a good friend really assumes the best about people.
So is there any final thing about being a good friend that you could share?
Yeah, really simple. Matthew 23:11, Jesus says, the greatest among you will be your servant. And so I think we should serve people. We should love people in whatever we're doing. And so if you guys are playing Fortnite, man, give away a chug jug.
Oh my gosh. Chug jugs are not even in the game anymore.
Some of that blue juice.
Fortnite is dying.
Drop some ammo for somebody. Or if you're, doing something at school, like go serve someone in little ways. It could be taking a tray for them. It could be buying them a small gift. I mean, anything like that. But just be a good friend and serve people.
Giving away your chug jugs. Wow. Anyways, that was some good stuff. Thanks a lot, Four Eyes. That was really great. So could you just sum that up for us? And pay attention, guys. Write this down.
All right, how to be a good friend. The first thing, be there for them. If something's going on, just be a friend. Sometimes you just need to listen. Secondly, sometimes everybody needs a good kick in the butt, right? That means you should yell at them or do it mean. It means that you should speak the truth in love. Third, always give people the benefit of the doubt. You never know what's going on in someone's life. And lastly, serve other people. Give those chug jugs away.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, you guys know how we do things on this podcast. We keep it no cap. So now that you guys know how to go make some friends and how to be a good friend, this next episode, we're going to be talking about how to fix broken relationships if they go bad. So keep an eye out for that one. And do not forget, the Teenology Podcast is where teens make sense of the world that they are about to change. I will see you guys later.